welcome back to part 2 of this matwork session using hand weights. This next part of the session we're going to start off lying on our tummies, and we're going to use the hand weights to strengthen the shoulders. So let's start off lying on your front. You could rest your head on a head cushion, or what you might want to do is to rest your head on the back of your hand, or you could make a fist and rest your forehead onto that fist. We're going to take hold of one of your weights. So for example, the right hand will hold the right weight. The legs are just straight behind you, parallel hip width apart, or you can drop the knees out or drop them in, whichever feels comfortable for you. And then straighten your right arm down by your side, the palm turned up to the ceiling as you hold your weight. And you'll notice the right shoulder is just dropping down to the floor, nice and heavy to begin with. So this is our starting position. Make sure your neck feels nice and relaxed and comfortable. We start off by lifting your right shoulder away from the mat. Then lift the right hand away from the mat. Lower the hand and the arm, and then let the shoulder drop back. So we breathe out, the shoulder lifts off the mat. Breathe in, the arm lifts off the mat. Breathe out, lower the arm. Breathe in, lower the shoulder. So we're gently working first through the shoulder, then through the arm, and then releasing back down again. We'll just do 2 more of these. Feeling that work into the upper back and the back of the arm, the tricep muscles working again, like we did for those standing exercises. When you finish that last set, relax the right arm. Swap the weight over into your left arm. You won't be able to see it too much from this angle, but let's give it a go anyway. So head is resting on the right hand, the left shoulder nice and heavy and relaxed to begin with, and then lift the left shoulder off the mat, then lift the left arm off the mat. Lower the arm, release the shoulder. Breathe out, shoulder lifts. Breathe in, arm lifts. Breathe out, lower the arm. Breathe in, lower the shoulder. So we're just working at your own pace, trying to maintain as much release and relaxation through the rest of the body as you can, but feeling that work into that left shoulder. So let's do 2 more sets to finish. When you've finished there, let's swap the weight back into the right hand. And we're going to work on a little bit of shoulder rotation for those rotator cuff muscles of the upper arms. A little bit like dumb waiter that we did in standing. So again, you can rest your forehead onto your left fist, your left hand, or a cushion. You'll notice the weight is now literally right above the crown of my head, resting on the floor above my head. My right elbow is bent and it's resting on the mat. And then this is a tiny movement. So as I breathe out, I engage my tummy and I lift my right hand up away from the floor towards the ceiling, and then I release on the in-breath. Breathe out as you go up, breathe in as you go down. Now the heavier the weight that you're working with, the harder this is to do, so don't be surprised if you can't lift your arm, your hand too high in this position. Keep that right elbow really still on the mat. But notice that feeling of your upper arm turning outwards inside your shoulder as you do this exercise. Let's just do 2 more to finish. And after your last set, swap the hands around again. So now it's the right hand, right hand under the head, left hand holds the weight. Adjust your body, find a good starting position. Relax the neck, and then when you're ready, lift that left hand away from the floor and release back down. Breathe out as you lift. Breathe in as you lower. We're going to do 3 more on this side. Again, noticing that left arm turning inside the shoulder, but the shoulder keeping nice and level. When you finished your last set, release the weight to the floor. And for this next exercise, you need a little bit of room out in front of you. So I'm just going to shuffle down my mat, and we're going to place the weights right at the end of the mat, and the heels of your hands will rest onto the weights. The legs are going to open a little wider apart, so think of them being wider than your hips, your heels dropping in, your toes pointing out, and we're coming into Cobra. Now, I'll give you a slightly easier version if you struggle with this, but this is what we'll do if you're working with the weights. So you've got really long fingers, really long arms, and your forehead is resting down onto the mat. Now I'm going to draw the tummy towards your spine, slide your nose forward a little bit, and then lift the back of your head, and then continue to peel your breastbone away from the floor. And as your spine peels away from the mat, you'll notice the weights rolling towards you as you pull your arms into your shoulders. And then you roll the weights forwards and lengthen your spine back into the floor. So it's a breath in to prepare, engage the tummy. Breathe out, slide the nose, lift the back of the head, peel the chest forwards and upwards. Maybe the tummy lifts, maybe the front of the hips lift. That would be your full Cobra position. Breathe in there and breathe out as you roll the weights forwards. Rest your head back into the mat. You can have the arms a little wider apart if that's more comfortable for your shoulders, but when you come up you should really feel the arms pulling into the shoulders as you lift through the spine. Bone by bone sequentially coming up, bone by bone sequentially coming down. If you struggle with that, I'm going to give you an alternative. Keep going if you're not struggling. So we're going to come into Cobra Prep instead. Your forehead rests onto the mat or a cushion, hands are next to your ears, elbows rest on the floor. And then it's a much smaller movement. You slide the nose forward, lift the back of the head, peel just the upper back off the mat, and then roll back down and rest again. So we're not using the weights, we're just feeling that strengthening, that connection in the upper part of the back, keeping the lower back nice and relaxed, nice and long. So let's all do just 2 more sets, whichever version you are doing. And then finishing your last one. Good, really nice. So from here, let's come into rest position. A couple of options. Either roll onto your back, hug your knees to your chest, or pop the hands under the shoulders, push yourself up and back, bring your feet together, open your knees apart, stretch your arms out in front, and come into our child's pose or rest position. The tummy is still active, so you want to use your tummy to round your lower back and to really stretch out through the spine. Take a breath or 2 in there. And when you're ready, gently roll yourself back up. And then we're going to come onto your backs into relaxation position. Again, you'll need your weights, so keep them on either side of your mat, roughly where your arms are going to be. And make sure you've got head cushion support if you need it. And let's start off with a little hamstring stretch, just in preparation for when we do start to work through the legs. So we're going to come into single leg stretch stage 1. The legs will come up one at a time, your feet connected but your knees apart, and we're going to hold onto the tops of your knees with each of your hands. Now the pelvis should be in a neutral position, hips and pubic bone level. There should be a little bit of a natural curve for your lower back, so what you don't want to feel is that you've brought your knees really close to your body and rounded your spine. So try to keep the natural curve. Then we're going to hold onto the left knee with both hands, stretch the right leg up towards the ceiling, bend the knee and swap to the left. So we breathe out as the leg straightens, breathe in to bend. Breathe out to straighten, breathe in to bend. And we just gently alternate the legs, holding the spine, the pelvis in neutral, so keeping a little bit of work going on through the tummy. Let's do, after this one, after your left one more to each leg. You'll notice my legs are high, they're not low. That way you can feel the hamstring stretch. And when you finish, you can give your knees a little hug, and now you can really rock and round your spine into the mat, releasing any tension. One at a time, the feet come back down. And then we're going to find your weights, grab hold of them in each hand, bring your arms up above your chest towards the ceiling. The palms are turned in to face one another, and we're coming into our shoulder drops position, or shoulder drops exercise. So your right arm, or the right shoulder, is going to peel off the mat up towards the ceiling, and then draw back down again. Then the left arm goes up, and draws back down. We breathe in to lift, breathe out to release. In to lift, out to release. And you'll feel that lovely stretch across the upper back when the shoulder blade moves away from the spine around the side of the body to help you to lift. Just do one more to each arm, keeping the head really heavy and relaxed, the tailbone heavy. When you've evened up, let's take both arms up at the same time. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and out. Just two more to finish. And then let the arms come and rest to your sides. In fact, what we'll do is we'll pop the weights onto the body. So they're going to nestle into that crease of your hips. And I would keep hold of them so they don't fall off your body. Make sure there's a little bit of space between your feet and between your knees. And let's come into a shoulder bridge. So the pelvis and spine stay in neutral. You're going to squeeze your bum and lift it up off the mat, pushing your hips to the ceiling. And then you rest your bottom back down. I'm going to take my head cushion away. You may or may not need to for your body, but I just want to keep my neck a little bit more lengthened. So I'm breathing in to lift, breathing out to release. So all we've done here is really added extra weight onto your body to make the legs work harder. So I've added 8 kilogram to my own body weight. So my bum, my hamstrings, my legs have to work a little bit harder to carry that extra load. Let's just do one more to finish. Good. So now let's come into bench press, where we initially just work the arms, but then we'll combine this with the legs. So we're going to reach your arms up to the ceiling again, like you had them for shoulder drops, but the palms are turned forwards to face one another. Remember, nice long straight wrists. We're going to start with your hands really close together above the chest. Just check that they're not above the head, especially if you were to drop your weights, and keep them above the chest. And then as you breathe in, we bend the elbows, send them wide to your sides, down towards the mat. Breathe out, push them back to the ceiling. Breathe in to bend, open them wide. Breathe out to push back up. So each time you push your arms back above the chest, reconnect those weights together, or the hands together. And what we might feel in the body is that work at the front of the chest, those pectoral muscles working as we push the arms to the ceiling. Just finish that last one and then keep your arms above the chest. Now let's combine this with the bridge. So as your bum lifts off the mat, you bend your elbows, pull them to your sides. Breathe out, push your arms up, rest your bum. Breathe in, bum up, elbows down. Breathe out, bum down, arms up. Remember, nice wide arms, wide elbows. They may or may not touch the floor, don't worry if they don't, but they definitely go wide in line with the shoulders. Heavy in the chest, but high in the hips. Let's do just one last one to finish. And then let your arms rest to your sides. If you need to stretch out the legs to release those hamstrings, have a little stretch. And then let's bring your feet together, knees together for some hip rolls. But today we're going to add in a little fly arm, a single fly arm to the movement. So come back to your shoulder drops position. Palms turn in to face one another. Bring your hands together above your chest, and now just softly bend the elbows. Imagine you're kind of wrapping your arms around a big tree trunk. So that's your starting position, and you always want to keep the elbows bent. Don't let them straighten. So we start with the pelvis tipping over to the right, the legs follow, but the left arm flies to the left. Take a breath in there. Breathe out, come back to the center, legs and arm. Breathe in there, breathe out, hips to the left, arm flies to the side. Breathe out, come back to the center. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out to roll. Fly the arm, breathe in to stretch. Breathe out to come back. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out to roll. Fly the arm, breathe in there. Breathe out to come back. So let's do a couple more sets from side to side. If, however, any of you want a little bit more of a challenge, you could come into a double knee fold and do this with your feet up. So for example, one at a time, the legs come up, feet together. You do the same hip roll from side to side. It's just a little bit more challenging to control, to find that opposition through the arm that's lowering to the side. Make sure the backs of your shoulders are always anchored towards the floor. The upper body doesn't move apart from the arms. It's only the lower body that rotates from side to side. I'm going to finish this last hip roll to the left, last fly to the right, and then you can hug your knees, release the lower back. One at a time, bring your feet back into the floor, feet hip width apart and parallel, and then open your arms long to your sides. Palms are turned up to the ceiling. We're going to finish off on our backs with a little curl up sequence. So if you have cushions under the head, or if you want cushions under the head, pop them there just to give you a little bit of extra support. We're going to start with your curl up. So we're going to think about a little nod of the chin to the chest. Lift your head, roll your shoulders forward to lift your upper back off the mat. The arms will hover off the floor, and then you do 3 little bicep curls. Let the arms rest, let the shoulders and the head rest. Take a deep breath in. Breathe out, curl up. Breathe in, lengthen the arms. Breathe out for a curl, breathe in. Breathe out for your last curl. Breathe in to straighten and roll down to the floor. Come back up. Now remember, the pelvis should stay nice and neutral in this position. Don't let the pubic bone lift towards your face. Think about looking down the body towards the pelvis to check that it stays in neutral. The arms working, watching that you don't drop back every time you do your movement in the shoulders or your arms. Let's do 2 last sets to finish. Last one. When your head rests this last time, let go of your weights. Gently roll your head from side to side. Let go of any tension in your body. Really nice, well done. So we're going to transition again. This time we're coming onto hands and knees. So gently roll onto your side, push yourself up, and let's transition. Now we need to make sure that, first of all, you've got room in front of you to straighten your arms, and secondly, room behind you to straighten your legs. And although we could use the weights, just remember that 4-point kneeling is already weight bearing, so you don't need to use the weights. It will just add a little bit more challenge if you wanted to. So we're going to start off with a little exercise to strengthen the tops of the arms, the tops of the shoulders. So if you want to use the weights, come onto your hands and knees, turn your palms inwards to face one another, and make sure the knees are right under your hips, make sure the arms are right under your shoulders, and the back is lovely and straight. So you should feel that you have that lateral lumbar curve in the lower back. Try not to be in a cat position with a curled spine. So imagine now that you have a plank of wood or a pole lengthening along the back, and you want to keep all those natural curves. So what we'll do is sit back maybe halfway, look straight forward to the front of your mat, and lift your right arm upwards and release. Lift the left arm upwards and release, and then hinge forwards. So we sit back maybe just halfway towards the feet. Maybe the left arm lifts this next time, then the right one. And then we hinge forwards again. And we're just going to do 2 more of these sets. Feeling those upper back muscles working, the trapezius muscles as we lift the shoulders, or lift the arms in the shoulders. Make this your last one. And then hinge forwards. Good. If you need to have a rest, come back and rest off the wrist. Give them a little shake or a circle. Look after your bodies as we move. So next we'll come into a tabletop, and we're going to add in opposite arms and legs with the weights. So the challenge now is to keep your back absolutely straight. So the weight won't shift backwards. You'll stay with even weight through the arms and the legs. The palms still turned in to face your knees, and the tummy lifting towards your spine. We're going to start with your right leg stretching out behind you, but keep your big toe on the mat. If you feel balanced and stable, the pelvis hasn't rotated, lift your left arm and then maybe lift your right foot off the floor. Challenge your stability for a moment by holding that position. Lower the hand and the foot, slide the knee back in. Now I always imagine, or encourage people to imagine, a glass of really cold water balancing on your lower back, and in fact you could have another one on the back of the shoulders. And when you then lengthen your left leg behind you, you want to keep that glass of water absolutely still. When you lengthen your right arm in front of you, same thing with that water between the shoulder blades. Challenge your stability, keep the shoulders level, keep the hips level, and come back under again. So we continue to alternate. Opposite arm and leg. Using the breath to help you. So, for example, breathing out as the leg slides. Breathe in as opposite arm and leg lift. Breathe out to hold that position. Breathe in to hold that position. Breathe out to lower and slide back in. Let's finish with the finish this last set. So, right leg, left arm, and then finishing left leg, right arm. And then come back and rest again if you need to. If you're happy to stay there, what we're going to do just for the last little challenge, and we just do one set to each arm and leg, is a little pulse. So once your right leg and left arm have lifted off the mat, we bounce them up and down about 10 times. Trying to keep our balance, trying to keep our stability. When you've done your 10, you swap to the other side. Left leg, right arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release. And sit back, maybe come all the way back into rest position. Stretch yourself out, take a couple of deep breaths, and then release back up. We're going to do one last exercise with the weights, and then one last one to finish off to stretch out. So let's grab hold of the weights. In fact, sorry, you just need one weight. So leave your left hand weight to one side. Pop the left hand under your shoulder. Grab hold of the weight in your right hand and find your good alignment through the spine. Now I'm going to straighten my left leg behind me, but I'm going to tuck my toes under and hold that leg there. Then I'm going to send my right arm down towards my hip, next to my body. So this is my starting position, and as I breathe out, I'm going to sweep my arm parallel to the floor, up to shoulder height, and then sweep it back into the hip. Breathe out as you lift, breathe in as you pull back. Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. Just 2 more on this side, keeping the hips level, keeping the shoulders level. When you've done your last set, release the weight. Have a rest off that left wrist. Give it a little shake or a circle. I'm just going to turn to the other side, but all you need to do is just to swap the weight into your left hand. And we do the same thing again. So we stretch the right leg out behind us. Tuck the toes under. Push back through that heel. So that'll help you to stabilize. The left arm comes to the hip. And from here, as you breathe out, it sweeps out to shoulder height and pulls back in. Breathe out and in. Breathe out hand in. That right arm is right under the shoulder. Spread the fingers wide to help support your wrists. Good, let's do 2 last ones to finish. You can feel that work into the sides of the body. When you're finished, come back and rest again. Back to rest position, child's pose, or just stay up on the knees. You can do high kneeling or low kneeling and shake everything out. And then let's finish with a rippling cat, a nice stretch for the spine. So start off 4-point kneeling, no weights required. Knees under your hips, arms under your shoulders, spread the fingers wide. Check that that middle finger is in line with the middle of your wrist. Keep the elbows a little bit loose, draw the tummy to your spine, take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, curl from your tailbone through the rest of your spine to your head. Breathe in there. Breathe out, sit halfway back. Breathe in, stick your bum out, lift your chest, look to your hands, and breathe out to hinge forwards. Breathe in to prepare, breathe out, curl from the tailbone right up to the base of the head. Breathe in there. Breathe out to sit halfway back. Breathe in to straighten the spine, breathe out to hinge forwards. And let's do 3 more to finish. A cat, hold the cat, go backwards with your cat, and then ripple through the spine to hinge forwards. Remember that the tummy is active throughout this movement to support your spine, to help you to lengthen through the back. This is the last one to finish. And then you can come back into rest position again. Give your wrists a little circle. If you would prefer, please feel free to come onto your back instead. That will be definitely better for your knees. You can hold the backs of the knees or the tops of the knees. Give your spine a gentle rock from front to back, side to side if you prefer. Just let your breath return to its nice normal pattern. So lovely deep breaths. Feet can come down one at a time. Release the head, the neck if you want to. And then that's this particular matwork session finished for the day. So well done, really good work. I hope you enjoyed working with the hand weights. And I'll see you next time back on the mat. Well done, thank you.